Welcome back to our channel, Rare Coins All World, coin collectors and history enthusiasts. Today, we're diving into one of the most interesting and valuable coins from the United States, the 1971 Washington quarter. While you may have seen these quarters in circulation over the years, this specific year has become an iconic coin that could be worth a whole lot more than just 25 cents. The Washington quarter has a rich history, and the 1971 version, in particular, has caught the attention of collectors and investors alike. So, let's explore what makes the 1971 Washington quarter so valuable, and how much it could be worth today. First, let's take a step back in time to 1971. The world was in a period of transformation. The United States was in the middle of the post-Vietnam era, and President Richard Nixon had recently taken office. The economy was going through some significant changes, and the world was adjusting to new global realities. In this context, the U.S. Mint was busy producing coins to meet the increasing demand for currency. Among the many coins being minted, the Washington quarter was a prominent piece of U.S. currency. The Washington quarter was first introduced in 1932, designed by artist John Flanagan. This coin features the portrait of the first U.S. President, George Washington, on the obverse, and the reverse features an eagle, which has been a symbol of the United States since the country's founding. The design remained largely unchanged over the decades, becoming a beloved and widely circulated coin. By 1971, however, the U.S. Mint began facing significant challenges related to the cost of coin production. 1971 marked a turning point for the Washington quarter, as it was the first year the Mint produced quarters using a new composition. Prior to 1971, quarters were made of 90% silver and 10% copper, which made them more expensive to mint. But in 1971, due to rising silver prices, the mint switched to a copper-nickel-clad composition. While the new quarters looked almost identical to their predecessors, the change in metal content was significant. It not only impacted the cost of minting but also set the stage for a wave of coin collecting activity that would later follow. Now, you may be wondering, with the 1971 Washington quarter being part of this mass production, how could it be worth more than its face value? The key to understanding the value of this particular coin lies in its condition, rarity, and the possibility of errors. Let's start by talking about the condition of the coin. Like many coins that were widely circulated, most 1971 Washington quarters have been used for everyday transactions and have shown signs of wear and tear. They've been tossed around in pockets, juggled in change jars, and spent countless years in circulation. However, if you happen to come across a 1971 Washington quarter in uncirculated condition, you're in for a treat. Uncirculated coins are those that have been carefully preserved from the time they were minted and have never been subjected to the rigors of daily use. These coins are rare because the vast majority of quarters produced in 1971 were used in day-to-day transactions. As a result, finding a mint condition 1971 quarter is not an easy task. When you do find one, its value skyrockets. In addition to finding an uncirculated 1971 Washington quarter, collectors also keep an eye out for any minting errors. Mint errors happen when something goes wrong during the coin production process. These errors can take many forms, such as double strikes, off-center strikes, or die cracks, and they make a coin unique. Collectors are always on the lookout for these rare mistakes, as they can make a coin exponentially more valuable. A 1971 Washington quarter with a rare error could easily command a price far beyond the standard value of the coin. Another reason that the 1971 Washington quarter stands out is because of the historical significance attached to it. It was the beginning of a new era for U.S. coinage, with the switch to a copper-nickel composition. As the years go by, these transitional coins gain more attention from collectors, making them more sought after and valuable. Now, let's talk about the value of the 1971 Washington quarter. Most of these quarters can be found for a modest price, but when you factor in the condition, any possible minting errors, and the rarity of uncirculated examples, the value jumps dramatically. For an uncirculated 1971 Washington quarter, you could see prices in the hundreds or thousands of dollars. But if you're lucky enough to have a 1971 Washington quarter with a minting error or one that has been kept in pristine condition for decades, the price could be much higher. And now, the big reveal: if you happen to own a 1971 Washington quarter in pristine, uncirculated condition, or one that features a rare minting error, you could be looking at a staggering value of $150,000. Yes, you heard that correctly. A single quarter, worth $0.25 at face value, could be worth $150,000 if it's in the right condition or has a rare characteristic that makes it stand out from the rest. Today, we're diving into a coin that you might have seen countless times, but its true value may surprise you: the 1979 Washington quarter dollar. The Washington quarter is one of the most iconic coins in U.S. history, and it's been part of American currency for generations. Most of us are familiar with the design of George Washington's portrait on the obverse and the majestic eagle on the reverse. But what sets the 1979 Washington quarter apart from others? Well, as we dive into its history, design, and what makes it so valuable today, you might just find that this quarter is far more than just a small piece of change. Let's start with a little history. The Washington quarter was first introduced in 1932 to commemorate George Washington's 200th birthday. The design, created by sculptor John Flanagan, became an instant classic. Over the years, the coin has gone through various modifications, but the core design has remained largely the same, with the profile of George Washington on the front and an eagle on the back. By the time we reach 1979, the Washington quarter had been in circulation for nearly 50 years. But this was a time of transition in U.S. coinage, and changes were happening behind the scenes. In 1979, the U.S. Mint produced a vast number of these quarters as part of the standard coinage for the year. But as with many other coins, the real value lies in specific circumstances, such as the condition of the coin, any minting errors, and its rarity. The 1979 Washington quarter was part of the series minted using the copper-nickel clad composition, which replaced the silver-based quarters that had been produced in earlier years. While this made the coins less expensive to produce, it also meant that many of the quarters were produced in high numbers and circulated widely. You might be asking, so, what makes the 1979 Washington quarter special? Well, the key lies in a few important factors: rarity, condition, and potential minting errors. As we all know, coins that are in excellent condition and have been well preserved for decades are far more valuable than those that show signs of heavy circulation. Most of the 1979 quarters you'll find today have been worn down from use, and they may have scratches, dents, or discoloration. But there's hope for collectors and investors alike. Finding a quarter in mint condition can increase its value exponentially. If you happen to come across a 1979 Washington quarter that looks like it just came out of the mint, you're already ahead of the game. But there's more to it than just pristine condition. The world of coin collecting also revolves around rare minting errors. These errors happen when the coin production process doesn't go exactly as planned, leading to an imperfect or unique coin. A minting error can be anything from an off-center strike to a double die, where the design is stamped more than once on the coin. These errors are highly sought after by collectors because they make the coin one of a kind, adding tremendous value. Minting errors in the 1979 Washington quarter are extremely rare, but when they do occur, they make the coin even more valuable. A 1979 Washington quarter with a minting error could easily fetch a much higher price than a regular, uncirculated coin. Collectors and investors will pay a premium for these unique pieces, especially if they're in excellent condition and feature a noticeable error. Now that we've explored the history and features of the 1979 Washington quarter, let's talk about the numbers. How much can this coin be worth today? While most 1979 quarters are worth just 25 cents, coins in better condition can be worth significantly more. A standard 1979 Washington quarter in average condition may only be worth a few dollars. However, a coin in uncirculated condition, free from damage or wear, can be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars to the right buyer. The true value of the coin is determined by the factors we've discussed: its condition, rarity, and whether it has any unique characteristics. And now, for the moment you've been waiting for, what's the true value of the 1979 Washington quarter in top-tier condition? If you're lucky enough to have a 1979 Washington quarter in flawless, uncirculated condition or with a rare minting error, this small coin could be worth an astonishing $180,000. Yes, you heard that correctly, $180,000 for a single quarter. It's incredible to think that such a small, everyday coin can hold so much value. So, how do you know if you've got one of these rare and valuable 1979 Washington quarters? It all comes down to checking the condition of the coin, looking for any minting errors, and consulting with an expert if you think you found something truly special. Coin values can fluctuate based on market demand, but if you find one of these quarters in mint condition or with a unique error, you might just be holding onto a small fortune. Today, we're diving into a coin that you might overlook at first glance but could be hiding incredible value, the 1981 Washington quarter dollar. This seemingly ordinary quarter may be more valuable than you think, and by the end of this video, you might find that this little piece of history could be worth a small fortune. The Washington quarter has been a staple of U.S. currency for generations, first introduced in 1932 to honor the nation's first president, George Washington. It has remained a symbol of American pride ever since. The design features George Washington's profile on the obverse side, and the reverse showcases an eagle in flight, an enduring emblem of strength and freedom. Over the years, the quarter has been minted in various compositions, with some years being more sought after than others. But what about the 1981 Washington quarter? Why does this specific year hold so much value for collectors and investors alike? In 1981, the U.S. Mint struck these quarters as part of the usual production of circulating coinage. The 1981 Washington quarters were minted using a copper-nickel clad composition, the same material that was introduced in the 1960s to replace the silver quarters. At first glance, it seems like just another regular coin from the late 20th century. However, as we dive deeper into the factors that determine a coin's worth, you'll see that the 1981 quarter has a unique appeal for collectors. The value of a coin is determined by a variety of factors, such as its rarity, condition, and any unusual characteristics that might make it stand out. While most of the 1981 Washington quarters are not particularly rare, there are a few specific circumstances that can make this coin incredibly valuable. The key to its worth lies in its condition and the potential for rare minting errors. As we know, coins that are well preserved are far more valuable than those that have been heavily circulated. So, a 1981 Washington quarter that has been kept in pristine, uncirculated condition can be worth far more than face value. These well-maintained coins may show little to no signs of wear, and their sharp details and lustrous finish make them highly sought after by collectors. If you happen to come across a 1981 Washington quarter that looks brand new, you might be holding onto a gem, but it doesn't stop there. Coins with minting errors, whether they're the result of an off-center strike, a double die, or some other irregularity, can be worth even more. Minting errors are a collector's dream, as they add a level of uniqueness to a coin that cannot be replicated. These errors are rare, and finding a 1981 Washington quarter with one can send its value skyrocketing. A minting error can make a coin one of a kind, and that rarity is what drives its price up in the market. Now, let's talk about the numbers. The 1981 Washington quarter, in standard circulated condition, is worth only its face value of 25 cents. However, as we've discussed, a quarter in uncirculated condition or one with a minting error can fetch a much higher price. The true value of these coins lies in their condition and the potential for rare and valuable characteristics. In some cases, a 1981 Washington quarter could be worth hundreds, even thousands, of dollars depending on these factors. And now, the moment you've been waiting for, the incredible price of a 1981 Washington quarter that's in top condition or has a rare minting error. Are you ready for this? A 1981 Washington quarter in pristine, uncirculated condition or with a minting error could be worth a stunning $160,000. That's right, $160,000. It's amazing to think that such a small, seemingly unremarkable coin could hold so much value. So, if you happen to find a 1981 Washington quarter in your collection or your pocket change, take a close look. It could be worth far more than you imagine. The coin market is ever-changing, but rare, well-preserved coins will always hold a special place in the hearts of collectors. If you're lucky enough to own one of these valuable quarters, you could be sitting on a small fortune. Today, we're talking about a coin you've probably seen many times before but might not have realized holds significant value, the 1982 Washington quarter dollar. The Washington quarter has long been a staple of American currency, first introduced in 1932 to commemorate George Washington's 200th birthday. Over the years, the design of the Washington quarter has remained largely unchanged, featuring a profile of George Washington on the obverse and a majestic eagle on the reverse. Despite its familiar look, some years of the Washington quarter are much more valuable than others, and 1982 is one of those years you'll want to keep an eye on. At first glance, the 1982 Washington quarter might seem like just another ordinary coin that you can find in circulation or tucked away in your change jar. But what makes the 1982 Washington quarter particularly interesting is the context of its production and what happened during that time in U.S. history. In 1982, the U.S. Mint was in the process of producing coins with a copper-nickel clad composition, which was less costly to produce than silver-based coins. This particular quarter was part of that mass production, yet not all 1982 Washington quarters are created equal. While many of these coins are common and can be found circulating today, certain variations and conditions make them a collector's dream. So, why should you care about the 1982 Washington quarter? The answer lies in rarity, condition, and, of course, potential minting errors. If you've been a coin collector for any length of time, you know that the value of a coin isn't solely determined by its age or the metal it's made of. Rather, it's about how many were produced, how many survived, and most importantly, how many of those have been preserved in exceptional condition. If you find a 1982 Washington quarter in uncirculated condition, you're already ahead of the game. These coins are much rarer than you might think. Why? Because most of the 1982 Washington quarters were heavily circulated, leading to a fair amount of wear and tear. Coins that have been used in daily transactions often lose their sharp details and luster. But finding a quarter in mint, uncirculated condition, one that looks as if it just came from the U.S. Mint, is a true prize for any collector. But there's more. The real magic happens when you start considering minting errors. Minting errors can occur for a variety of reasons during the production process, and they can make a coin extremely valuable. Minting errors can include things like double dies, where the design is struck multiple times, off-center strikes, or unusual die breaks. These unique errors can transform a standard coin into a one-of-a-kind piece of numismatic history. The 1982 Washington quarter is no exception. While not every coin from this year will feature a minting error, the ones that do are highly coveted by collectors. A minting error could drastically increase the coin's value, sometimes exponentially. If you manage to find a 1982 Washington quarter with an error, whether it's a double die or any other kind of defect, it could be worth far more than a regular quarter in uncirculated condition. Now, let's talk about the value. Typically, a 1982 Washington quarter is worth its face value, 25 cents, if it's been circulating and showing signs of wear. But when you start looking at uncirculated versions or those with rare minting errors, the value of this coin skyrockets. So, how much could a pristine 1982 Washington quarter or one with a minting error be worth? Are you ready for it? If you find a 1982 Washington quarter in exceptional condition or one that has a rare minting error, it could be worth an astounding $165,000. Yes, that's right, $165,000. It's amazing to think that a quarter, a coin that was produced for regular circulation, could hold such an extraordinary value, but it's the rarity and condition of these coins that make them so desirable. So, what should you do if you think you've got a 1982 Washington quarter that could be worth a small fortune? The first thing to do is to carefully examine the coin. Check for any signs of wear or damage. If the coin appears to be in uncirculated condition, take a closer look for any potential minting errors. And if you suspect you found something truly special, it might be worth getting it professionally graded by a numismatic expert. Today, we have a fascinating discovery to share that could change the way you look at your pocket change. In this video, we're diving into the value and history of the 1990 Washington quarter dollar. While you might be used to seeing these quarters in your spare change, you might not realize that this particular coin can be worth far more than its face value. So, if you're someone who loves rare coins or has a collection of quarters, stay tuned because you might be sitting on something very valuable. The Washington quarter has been an iconic part of American currency since its introduction in 1932, and it continues to be a favorite among collectors today. Each year, the U.S. Mint produces millions of these quarters, but not all of them are created equal. Over time, certain years or variations have been known to rise in value due to their rarity, minting errors, or even just being in exceptional condition. The 1990 Washington quarter is one such example. So, what makes the 1990 Washington quarter stand out? Let's take a look at the coin's history and the factors that influence its value. The 1990 Washington quarter was minted during a time when the United States was enjoying relative economic stability. The U.S. Mint struck millions of these quarters as part of the ongoing coinage production for the year. Like many other quarters, the 1990 version was made from a copper-nickel-clad composition, which became the standard for U.S. coins after the silver was removed from circulation in the 1960s. While the 1990 Washington quarter may seem like just another modern coin in the series, it holds special value for collectors. Most of these quarters were used in everyday transactions, meaning many of them were heavily circulated and show signs of wear. However, what collectors look for in these coins is their condition and rarity. The better the condition, the higher the potential value. Uncirculated or well-preserved examples of this coin are far more valuable than those that have been worn down over time. If you find a 1990 Washington quarter that has remained in excellent condition, you might be holding onto a gem. Another important factor that contributes to the value of the 1990 Washington quarter is the possibility of rare minting errors. Minting errors are a collector's dream because they can turn an ordinary coin into something extraordinary. Minting errors can occur for a variety of reasons, such as a misaligned die, double strikes, or off-center strikes. These errors can drastically increase the value of a coin, making it a must-have for serious collectors. While errors on 1990 Washington quarters are not as common as on other coins, there are still examples out there that have been misstruck, creating a unique and valuable piece. If you happen to find a 1990 Washington quarter with an error, it's worth taking a closer look or getting it professionally graded. Depending on the type of error and the overall condition, these coins can fetch impressive prices in the market. Now, you may be wondering, just how much is a 1990 Washington quarter worth? The answer depends on several factors, including the coin's condition and whether it has any rare minting errors. In general, a standard 1990 Washington quarter in circulated condition is worth only face value, 25 cents. However, if the coin is in pristine, uncirculated condition, it could be worth much more. For a 1990 Washington quarter in excellent condition or with a rare minting error, the value can be significantly higher. So, if you happen to come across a well-preserved 1990 Washington quarter or one with an interesting minting error, it could be worth an incredible $65,000. Yes, that's right, $65,000. It's amazing how a coin that seems so ordinary at first glance can hold so much value. If you're wondering how you can tell if your 1990 Washington quarter could be worth that kind of money, it all comes down to its condition and any potential errors. Take a close look at the details. If the design is sharp and clear with no signs of wear, then you might have an uncirculated coin on your hands. If you notice something unusual about the strike, such as a double die or misalignment, then you've probably found a coin with a minting error that could increase its value even more. Before you rush to get your 1990 Washington quarters appraised, make sure to keep them protected. Store them in a safe place, away from moisture and harsh conditions, to preserve their condition. If you believe you have a high-value coin, consider having it graded by a professional coin grader to verify its authenticity and condition. A coin with a verified grade will typically fetch a higher price when sold. In conclusion, the 1990 Washington quarter dollar may seem like just another coin in circulation, but when you take into account its condition, rarity, and potential minting errors, you can see why collectors are willing to pay top dollar for this coin. If you're lucky enough to come across a 1990 Washington quarter in top condition or with a rare minting error, you could be looking at an impressive payout, $65,000. It's always exciting to find hidden treasures, and this coin proves that even modern quarters can have incredible value. If you found this video helpful or interesting, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you won't miss out on future coin discoveries. Who knows, your next coin could be worth more than you ever imagined. Thanks for watching, and happy collecting.